All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Mark Romeo. I'm the Event and Programs Director at AIA Los Angeles. I want to welcome everyone to today's 2026 Design Awards Sustainability Q&A. This is session 2. We are with Hiba Brewster from AC Martin and Cameron Chorney with RDH Building Science. If anyone has any questions at all, again, this is kind of a free-flowing thing. I'll let Hiba and Cameron kind of decide how they want to do it, but you can always type your question in the chat, and one of them will address them as they come in. Again, we'll be recording this seminar, and we'll put this up on our event page, a link to on our event page to our YouTube account. Currently, session 1 is up on the YouTube account, and there is a link on the web page. If you'd like to revisit the seminar. With that said, I'm going to turn that over to Cameron. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Mark. Yeah, thanks for being here. Hiba and I are part of the AIA Committee on the Environment. So we're kind of been supporting the 2026 Design Awards and the sustainability requirements for those. So we'll go through some of the requirements for those today in depth, and then feel free to jump in with questions as we're going through. Happy to answer those. So why are we here? Hopefully we all know that greenhouse gas emissions are responsible or contributing to global warming and climate change, with buildings being 40% of those annual global CO2 emissions. What we're doing as designers and project teams has an impact on the environment. So hopefully, all teams that are submitting are part of the 2030 commitment. Been some progression over the years of the names and meanings of that for AIA, but we all are here and hopefully signatories to that. I'm going to go through just a little video now.
What makes this project one that people will
just
fight to
explaining
preserve?
AIA 2030.
Who might this project be forgetting?
How can the performance of this project be improved in ways that are cost and design neutral?
At AIA, we believe that every line drawn should be a source of good in the world. That good design takes a holistic approach. With the world changing in ways that continuously challenge our health, safety, and well-being, we developed a comprehensive framework to guide architects as they design for the communities of tomorrow. The framework for design excellence is comprised of 10 principles that help broaden our thinking, expose us to new angles, and uncover what we may have missed. By thoughtfully integrating these principles throughout the design process, design teams and clients can build a more equitable, resilient, healthy, and zero-carbon future. Design teams have already begun using the framework for design excellence to improve their designs, set their firm on a path toward excellence, and advocate for lasting policy change across the country. Every project can be a big step towards addressing complex issues. How will you use the framework for design excellence? Start exploring now.
What makes
Okay, so I mentioned we're here with the Committee on the Environment. So a little history of how the committee came to be. Since the launch of AIA 2030 in 2009, and a little bit after that, these requirements for sustainability and otherwise have been included in the design awards. So kind of a offshoot and committee that helps AIA LA push and advocate for climate change solutions and sustainability. So a little bit more in depth on the AIA coat and the awards. 2016 moved to the 2020 standalone award ends and requirements, and then finally integrated into sustainability in every award for the design awards moving forward. And then in last year, we actually put together a dashboard, more interactive online tool for showing and quantifying some of those goals and requirements for AIA Design Awards. So we do have a document that lays out all these submission and design award requirements for sustainability and from the Committee on the Environment. So that is available, and we'll go into these a little bit more clear and granular in the rest of the presentation, but know that there is a document and requirements available. So like I said, the dashboard was launched just to hopefully simplify this for teams, taking that text to more visuals for us visual learners, and simple yes nos and some percent better or reduction savings for various things. So going through the requirements at a high level. So first off, for teams to be eligible for the Built and Next LA awards, we do need y'all to be signatories to 2030 commitment. Next, have to be able to get on the design data exchange to show proof of the various things we have in the steps next. The first actual requirement being energy savings, or EUI, which Hiba will talk a little bit more about, but essentially energy performance for the project. So for built projects without energy metrics, you can be eligible for a merit or citation status only. So know that these requirements are needed to be eligible for certain awards. Next requirements, life cycle assessment or water savings. So have the option between those two. So understanding the carbon for your project, embodied carbon, or the water savings from site and landscaping or otherwise. So two different options there for that step and requirement. And then next requirement, lighting power density. So required for built single family residential or interior projects. So you may choose to demonstrate a minimum 25% lighting power density below local code for this as an option. And the next step being AIA frameworks for design excellence. So all projects are recommended to highlight one of the frameworks for design excellence. So that's available, and yes or no with what that framework that you're pursuing is for. So a basic requirement there. Yeah, and then in the design presentation, so there are some requirements for sustainability focused slides. So pretty much showing the various things that the basic requirements or any other measures that were put the project above and beyond for sustainability, and really highlight the design excellence of your team. Yeah, and then submission exemptions. So certain projects, cityscapes and installations, may not have all those basic requirements. So those don't require the submissions on the design exchange. Will be eligible for honor consideration on those. And then non-conditioned space. So similarly, will be exempt from metrics requirements and will be eligible for honor consideration. And then we'll kind of dive a little bit deeper on how and to report and what some of these various requirements we went through mean. So starting with AIA 2030 commitment, hopefully everyone is a signatory, and that is required to be eligible. So if you are not, pretty simple to become a signatory, and hopefully something that your company would want to do. So another video here explaining AIA 2030 commitment.
Buildings create about 40% of the world's carbon emissions. Unless we change how we design and build right now, climate change will become irreversible. The AIA 2030 commitment supports a network of architecture firms working together to make carbon neutral a design standard by 2030. Hundreds of firms, from sole proprietors to international design firms, are leading the effort to reduce building energy consumption and get to zero across their entire portfolio. Joining the 2030 commitment is simple. We provide the tools, resources, and community you need to design carbon-neutral projects and become a climate leader. Every architecture professional can play a role, and every project can be a catalyst for change. Let's get to zero together. Visit aia.org/2030 commitment.
Okay. Yeah. So if you do need to sign up still, first step is to sign that commitment letter, committing to the 2030 and the various requirements for that. A little QR code to make it simple for y'all if you do need to sign up. You will have these slides later, and there's a lot of information out there. Yeah, here's an example of Casey's practice team that did sign up. So relatively simple sign up, and various templates out there that can be used to sign up as a signatory and commitment. And then next step is creating that action plan to follow through on that signatory commitment. So similarly, a template that can be used for your team. If you'd want to scan the QR code. So next is moving on to the design data exchange and actually submitting and uploading all these various requirements and proof. So this is where all the different project submissions and data and information for the various commitments are provided. Here's an example of a submission upload. So it does have a nice online user interface that can and hopefully is simple to provide the information that's needed. Yeah, and that's the design data exchange. So moving on to energy savings, going to pass it to Hiba to continue on here.
Hello, everyone. Just a reminder, all this will be due July 23rd as you're submitting your projects for the awards. This kind of section of that dashboard, it will be your 11th slide on your deck. Just a quick reminder. All right, so moving on with energy savings, so EUIs and how do you fill this portion of the dashboard? Baseline EUI, so if you're filling it through DDX, DDX will be providing you with a baseline EUI based on your project size and type and location. So once you add all that, it should spit out a baseline for you. So that number comes in from DDX. Predicted EUI is coming in from your energy model or from your Title 24. So please reach out to your mechanical engineering or MEPs in general to help you out with this if you're not familiar where that is, and we'll walk you through it as well. But it's always good to chat with your MEPs about this information, get them involved as well. Net EUI, and predicted EUI will be same as baseline if you're just going for compliance. So if you're shooting for compliance for Title 24, predicted EUI is probably going to be the same if you're early on in the stage, unless if you have MEPs to have more accurate information. For net EUI, so if you have any renewable energy, so that will be your that number comes in from that. So it's your predicted minus the or baseline minus the what you call it, the solar or whatever it is, that will be your net. And the building type, whatever it is it multifamily, is it commercial, whatever, just type it in. And then percentage of savings will be calculated off of that. So percentage of saving will be baseline minus predicted or net divided by your baseline, and then times 100. That's your percent. Next. So to kind of walk you through, there we go, walk you through the what EUI is. So EUI is kBTUs per square foot per year, and that also come up a little bit differently sometimes, but this is what we're looking for, is that. Next. So where to get your compliance from with Title 24, there is different places that you can look for. If your project is going through ASHRAE at 90.1, so that you'll find it there as well. Or if your project is LEED, going for LEED certification, we'll go through that as well. Next. So for your Title 24 compliance, you'll see your Title 24 sheets. It's always going to be in the same sheet, which is great. Helps you navigate it. Next. So it's right there. It's always on C8, I believe, the energy use intensity, on page 9 out of, look at that number. So it's easy to navigate. So you have your gross and net. So if you don't have any renewable energy, your gross and net will be exactly the same. And then if you have any renewable energy, your net will be less than your gross. So for standard design, so how to read that? Your standard design is that's your baseline that's coming in from MVP, and then your proposed is the proposed design. Yeah, and then the margin percentages. And then for the square footage that you're using, if the project is very early on in concept, and if you don't have MVPs just yet, you're using whatever square footage that you're designing for. If you have an MVP and you're getting your Title 24, they should have square footage, I believe, on the very, very first page of Title 24. I'll give you that square footage. You can change that to reflect these numbers, because these numbers are more accurate. And the reason you might see discrepancies is because it's a conditioned space. Title 24 is going for conditioned spaces versus where we're just adding it, general gross number. It's not counting that. But that square footage that you're adding to your DDX should be gross square feet. Those are just examples of what you're seeing. Next. So this is an example. If you're LEED compliance, same thing. If you have any renewables, it will be added as well. So it can be used to track, same as Title 24. And there's there we go. There's a saving percentage as well that you're counting. A little bit different because of cost. So you just keep an eye on that. And if you don't know what you're looking for, please ask your consultants. So it's better to use, if you're early in the design, it's better to use the DDX baseline numbers. If not, and if we don't have that, and if you're using ASHRAE 90.1, you might need to use Zero Tool for your to calculate your baselines. So Zero Tool is a free online. You can access it free. Lines is zerotool.org, and then you can just simply enter your information, just like you would enter into DDX. Just a site address, function, square footage. Again, please use gross square feet. And then it will spit out the baseline for you. So what you're looking is the site EY instead of the source EY. And then, yeah, there we go. So you're accounted for a target for baseline. So this is just kind of approximate range of EUIs per code. This should be an issue if you're just using Zero Tool or DDX. Next. Next portion is embodied carbon. So remember, it's either embodied carbon or water is the requirements. So if you have both, please do both. So embodied carbon or LCA is if you have it, say yes, and there will be a reduction from baselines, and there is different ways to calculate that. Next. Helpful tools like C-Scale are fantastic. This is not a plug, but you have three free projects with C-Scale that you can utilize. And if you run out of the three, you can delete one and add more. But C-Scale is fantastic. And if you can afford it, please, they're amazing. So examples for that. The way that C-Scale works is you set business as usual. That's your baseline, and as you're doing improvements, it calculates your reduction. So that minus that, math, you get your percentage of reduction. Another tool that you can use, which is fantastic, is Tally. That's through Revit. So if you have more a detailed model through Revit, Tally is fantastic to use that. And it will give you the same, more accurate information, obviously, as you're going into more details. C-Scale is very basic, especially the non-paid version. You're getting a big picture rather than detailed numbers. Next. Another kind of resource that you can use is the Carbon Leadership Forum, CLF. They have benchmarks. Benchmarks is your baselines. So you can utilize this as well if you don't want to sign up for a Tally or C-Scale. So this is the other option, water savings. So if you're doing a native or drought tolerant planting landscape, you can say yes to that, and then you can calculate the percentage of savings based on the MWEL that you're getting through your landscape architect or your MEP you're applying. Next. So this is how that would look like, and you'll get your. There we go. There you go into where it says compliant. Shows you where it shows green, a little bit south of that. There we go. So you're looking at the estimated site-wide versus the allowed. So that's your designed, that's 90,000, whatever it is, and then the baseline is the number below. Once you see the green compliant right there, that means you're good to go, and you can go ahead and say yes to the dashboard, and then include that percentage of reduction. Next. Next is your lighting power density. So this one is, it is required for if you're doing single family homes or if you're only doing interiors, TIs. This is very much required since it doesn't really have EUI. This is how we're going to be measuring it. And same thing, your savings percentage. Next. So we're shooting for 25%. There's reduction, and then there's or better if you can. There's two ways of calculating that. So it's either a whole building, route, or if you're choosing that venture of space by space, takes a little bit more time, but is more accurate, especially for those buildings that require like office buildings or hospitals. These will require more energy per space. So if you want to get more detailed about that, fantastic. But you can also just do a whole building pretty easily. both methods you can enter through DDX as well. So whatever you have DDX should work just fine. Next. And these are kind of values that the DDX is kind of pulling from. So whatever number you're getting, this is pretty accurate to that. But this is your cheat sheet into what these numbers are if you're very early on in the design. Next. And if you have a compliance Title 24, there's an easy way to calculate it. So you have your total allowed and total designed, as you can see right there, the compliance results. So this is your electrical sheets of Title 24. Likely you only have nine kind of piece of that or pages of that. So on page 2, it's always going to be there, the compliance results. So you'll see those 2 numbers that you have to watch out for. And then your LPD is watts per square feet. So whatever square footage that they're using, please use that. So it's those watts, the designed divided by the square feet that the electric engineer is using in the Title 24, or whatever gross square feet that you utilized. Next. Next is design excellence framework, or framework of design excellence. This is not required. However, it is nice to have. It is not required this year, but it might be required in the years to come. So please keep that in mind. And it's really nice to kind of start thinking about this early on. And it's pretty easy, yes or no. Are you thinking about it? Did you incorporate it? And the framework that we're asking you to fill out right here is just the overall. So if you have multiple frameworks that you've been designing towards, which one is the most that stood out as you're reading your narratives? So if it's energy, if it's water, if it's whatever, just include that. Or just a single one is fine. Next. And right here, it just walks you through the 10 frameworks the AIA has set. And they're pretty interesting. It's great for you to look at. There's a QR code right there. If you're not familiar with this, you can be familiar with it. So if you want to take a minute to scan that. My absolute favorite is equitable communities. It's just, it brings architecture to different light, I guess, of things that we haven't really looked into sustainability. Sustainability has always been energy and water and all that fun jazz, but then including community, and that is very important. Yeah, next. So myths and facts. Everybody's complaining about this as usual, which is fine. But the myth is it takes too much time. It actually doesn't. If you're taking, 30 minutes per project, not even per project, that's per project in the project's life, ends up being that. And it's pretty easy to do so. It requires too many resources. All the resources are free for you to use. So it won't take much time. I may have poor performing project. Everybody asking about the same question. Poor performing is fantastic, and here's why. CDX was set to create kind of a closed loop into what, how things are working. We're not, striving for perfection. If every little notch, every little bite helps moving in the right direction. So the information that you're setting into DDX, it is very anonymous. It doesn't really have a name towards it. It's just, it lets AIA know that more work needs to be done. And in order to do so, they push for more training for professionals, AEC industry, and then towards even politics, which is great. So the shift that you're seeing every year is because your contribution to this, even if it's not absolutely perfect. So I'll have to achieve the 2030 target. Again, making progress is more important than meeting the target. Every single push helps pushing California to be better and for other states to be to follow as well. And then the project must be complete. It does not. So if you're going for the built project, then yes, it does. But if you're just going for an XLA or other awards, it does not need to be complete. So you start from concept and you can go all the way to CA a DDX. And again, if you're adding your collaborator, your MEP as a collaborator, they can input that information for you as well, which is great. And I believe that concludes our slides. We have about 20, 25 minutes for any questions. Mark, if you want to take that. Any questions? Please unmute yourself and then you can ask your question.
I have a question for out-of-state projects where Title 24 doesn't really apply. What's the best way to kind of fill in the information on those?
Yeah, so that's going to be with ASHRAE 90.1. I will chat with your MEP to get this information. I've tried, it's really hard, especially with that. But for your baseline, you can get it from ZeroTool and then predict it. And so if you have, do you have an energy model for that project?
No, I don't. It was the electrical was done as a design build. So yeah, I don't have that.
Okay. So if you have MEP on board, so it's interiors only, you said electrical?
The MEP was also all MEP was design build.
Okay. How would you do that? I mean, chat with them and see if they've ran any numbers that you can utilize. What I've done before is they're very much on speed dial, and I just got to bug them and they gave me the numbers because they do it, and on their end they won't share it with you if you don't have Title 24. So they do have it if the team has it, if they run it. So just ask. If not, I would probably do a quick energy model if you can. But yeah, that's a tough one with ASHRAE.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I also have a question I posted in the chat. For our Title 24, we calculate everything in EDR, and also I wonder if there's a good way to translate that to EUI, or should we run the energy model to calculate again?
Yeah, so TDV, so when I think during the presentation, I mentioned something about another, it appears differently. It's the TDVs. TDV is another way to read it. However, there's no calculations that you can, there's no this to that. It's a complaint that I've had for quite a while, actually. And that there's no easy way to describe that. I would just put that number as is into your TVDs.
Oh, okay.
It's TDV, yeah.
And, okay, thank you. And also for the dashboard, for the step 2, when I click on the water saving, it's both checking the water saving and also the embodied carbon.
It's really hard to understand.
Oh, sorry. So
I think you're on mute.
there, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so for step 2, when I click on the water saving, I check yes. It's also check yes for the embodied carbon at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, if you have both, why not? But
I mean, like right now we haven't calculated how we got in carbon, but when we're checking the water saving, like it's checking both yes for these two.
Oh, it's checking. Oh.
Yeah.
These things are like
That's a Mark question.
literally each one of those.
I will note that, and I'll let them know. So once you check yes on embodied carbon, it checks yes on water savings, right?
Yes, it checks both options at the same time.
She renovated it. Was like red, blue, yellow.
Thank you.
It was like
That might be a
like
browser issue.
Yeah.
Try a different browser. If it doesn't work, please let us know.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
give it a try. Try it out in Adobe and also.
Yeah, she added a larger patio.
I will
So
too.
just gonna have to put it
Thank
drop top and landscape.
I'll get that fixed. Thank you.
Hello, thank you guys for the presentation. I had a question about the EUI. So, just kind of in a nutshell, it's kind of just taking if you have a Title 24 sheet already, it's kind of taking the predicted and the baseline and comparing it to the actual performance. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. That's seems pretty simple. So then for the water efficient worksheet, the documents that were submitted for approval to the city, that should be enough to show compliance with that? Or do we need further calculations beyond that?
It should be just this compliance.
Just okay, so just the landscape sheet. Okay then.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if you're using native plants, that should be they should do this no matter what. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have all natives.
Great to hear. Mark, see that you had difficulty hearing what the issue was. So Cameron, if you go back to that dashboard. Keep going.
Buildings.
So the issue is, you have the embodied carbon or the water on the dashboard. When they click yes on one, the other one presses yes as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
need to.
look at that. So the embodied step 2.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question, Hiba. If a project, we complete all the information on the Common App and everything's filled in, but maybe it's not the most sustainable project, does that have any, does that matter as the final judging for the project, as if it were to win? Like, would a more sustainable project win versus a less sustainable, even if everything's filled out completely?
So the way I look at it, and everybody kind of has their own opinions, right? You have 10 parts of what makes sustainability based on AIA's definition, right? Sometimes your focus is on the community, is on public health, rather than the most by numbers, EUI or whatever it might be, the most sustainable. It's energy or whatever it is. It's one portion out of 10. And me personally, when I'm looking at the 10, I call them the 10 commands, right? Is looked at holistically rather than singled out to say this is a bad one. Same thing when we're doing sustainability kind of analysis. Sometimes there's multiple analyses for a project, and one of them is performing better. However, it's getting better light, it's getting better, better everything. It's just the number of EUI is better on something else. I would recommend the one that is holistically doing better, even though that number is not necessarily the best. So I wouldn't discount it just because of, you don't think that it's sustainable. It might be sustainable in a different way.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I have one more question. We're submitting an unbuilt and a built project. For the unbuilt one, do we still include the dashboard and leave it blank? Should we still include it in the submission?
For the unbuilt?
Yes, because it's required for the signature is required, correct? So should we still include like the dashboard slide, or do we just leave that out?
You have it. I would.
Okay.
Mark, what?
It can't hurt to put it in there, but I don't know that it's completely necessary for. Yeah, I mean, I would include it, but yes, I think you should be okay by adding it to as that 11th page.
Okay, thank you.
And just a reminder, submissions are July 23rd, Thursday.
Yes, thank you, Hiba. So thank you both to Hiba and Cameron. If there are no other questions, as Hiba said, please plan accordingly. July 23rd will be here very quickly, and I know you guys get really busy. If you have any questions, you can always reach me or Erica, Mark at aialosangeles.org, or Erica, ERIKA, at aialosangeles.org. Thank you all for attending, and best of luck. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
You.
Thanks all. See ya.